Today, the title for the Great Britain Sail Grand Prix will be decided. 3 teams from 9 will fight it out in a thrilling showdown.
How can I keep my boat going fast in this chaos? Whoa! No! Sailor puts it in! Look at that! Disaster again for the Americans. And look at the Swiss heeling that over, almost putting it on its side.
New Zealand are in the driver's seat for the first time ever, with Australia and France defending their podium spots. And can the home team upgrade their mid-table standing and live up to expectations? Anything can happen. Welcome to SailGP.
Stand by. 0, go, go, go. 5, up. Go wing. Slowly coming away. Turn. Here we go. Stay by wheel. You guys all right? Very well sound, everyone.
The historic southwest English town of Plymouth is coming alive for the deciding day of the Great Britain Sail Grand Prix, with a great day's racing about to begin. Britain's ocean city has a maritime history that goes back centuries, such as in 1588 when Sir Francis Drake sailed from his hometown to defeat the Spanish Armada, or 1620 when the Pilgrim Fathers set sail on the Mayflower for the New World. And while the historic Barbican City Centre takes us back to bygone eras, today the modern city continues to revel in its maritime setting, as the Plymouth Sound has been declared Britain's first national marine park. And what a great setting for the fastest race on water as the Great Britain Sail Grand Prix moves into its second and deciding day, with the race to be champion still wide open.
The first day of the Great Britain Sail Grand Prix did not disappoint.
And look at Canada coming in at full pace. They have the fastest angle to Mark 1.
Incredible conditions, big crowds with neck-and-neck racing.
Whoa!
Canada is the new team for Season 3, and after an incredible performance early this season, they made their mark once again in Race 1.
200 meters in the lead, and
Nice and chill from here, guys. Really good shape.
No time to relax for Canada, as France and New Zealand had other ideas.
It's going to be really tight at the bottom. Has Robertson judged this correctly?
it will be the Canadians that take the win here in Plymouth.
Australia found their way past Canada with sheer pace in Race 2, with France once again fighting at the front of the fleet. Canada, though, showed how one mistake can end your race.
Oh,
Canada puts it in.
Look at it! For Race 2 and Australia, great victory.
Nice work, guys.
2 second places for New Zealand, though.
For home team Great Britain, they hung in there with the delight of the crowds.
Great tactical sailing by Ainsley from last to 4th in 1 lap.
The final race saw New Zealand leading once again and looked like they've cracked the code of their F50.
New Zealand sailing faster than everyone else.
With 2 seconds and a win, they end up 6 points clear of Australia and France.
A lot of people up there. Yeah, it's different.
So let's take a look at the event scoreboard after 3 races. New Zealand showing good form here as they look to rebound, trying to get themselves finally into a final race. They lead it with 28 points. Australia, the 2-time defending and reigning champions, winners of the first 2 events, they are sitting on 22, as is France and Content de la Paire having a great run here. Canada and Great Britain still with a shot of making it in. Denmark, Switzerland, USA, and Spain on the outside, currently looking in here at the Great Britain Sail Grand Prix of Plymouth.
Well, if we look at the event as a whole and we look at yesterday, New Zealand, what a day. 2 second places to start and rounded things off with a first place finish. 28 out of 30 points, what a day, but 5th. This is the team that really need to deliver today. They had a very consistent day, but averagely consistent is not good enough. 4th, and a 6th, 19 points. They're 3 points off of that important 3rd position. They need to make the final in front of home fans. So Ben Ainsley, he needs to change it up. He needs to get himself aggressively off the start line, and I think that's going to be the ingredient today, Emily.
And it's not just the British that are in contention still to make the final. The Danish are at 18 points. If they have a good race and the French or the Aussies have a bad one, they could also get there.
Yeah, well, we saw a hard day for the Australians yesterday, but that first place in the second race, and that's what Ainsley needs. An aggressive start for the British to get themselves on the way to that final race here in Plymouth.
So 2 events have taken place already here in Season 3 of SailGP, and as we've mentioned before, Australia, the 2-time defending and reigning champions, won the first 2 events, first in Bermuda and then in Chicago. Canada has had a good run, being consistent in the top 3, as has Ben Ainsley and Great Britain. New Zealand on the cusp. This could be their weekend. Denmark shows great signs. France in a great position today. They currently sit in 6th, but the Americans have had a disastrous season so far. They're in 7th, with Spain and Switzerland bringing up the rear. Well, great crowds continue to make their way onto the Hoe for a spectacular day of racing as we approach 8 minutes to go for the start of race number 4. Remember, we'll have race 4, then race 5, and then it will be down to the final 3 boats that'll race off for the title here in Plymouth, in Britain's Ocean City. On the beautiful Plymouth Sound, the boats continue to make their way to the best viewing possible. You are right next to the racetrack as you see the world's best sailors battle it out in these foiling F50 catamarans. So as the crowds get settled, we get ready. We are under 7:45 to go until the start of the race. Let's check in with the 4th member of our broadcast team down on the water. Here is Olympic silver medalist Lisa Darmanin.
Well, Todd, the conditions are looking pretty challenging out here. The rain clouds are controlling the wind speed and direction again today. So those big dark clouds are bringing the wind, and once they move through, they take all the wind away with them. It's super patchy race course, which what I mean by that is there's not a consistent wind across the course, and I don't think that there is going to be one clear path to tackle the racetrack today. We are seeing winds to be averaging around 22 kilometers per hour and gusting up to 24 kilometers per hour, but we're also seeing huge light wind spots. So we might see teams doing more turns to link those wind patches together, and but doing a maneuver costs plenty of distance. So the teams will have to make sure they're heading to more wind to make those maneuvers worth it. It was Joe Ellie's first day of racing yesterday with the New Zealand team, and what an amazing day they had. I was lucky enough to catch up with a bunch of the sailors this morning, so let's head over to see what Joe had to say about her first day of racing on these F50 hydrogen.
It's an incredible piece of machinery, eh? I mean, I've never said anything like it. That's the top speeds I've ever done on a boat, and hopefully we beat that again today.
Yeah, no, we just had one big crash in one of the races when we were 2nd or 3rd, so yeah, a bit of a shame. It could have been a day of 3 top 3s, which is what an ideal day, I guess. But yeah, we're in the pack, we're fighting, and we've got an opportunity today to go and make it into that top 3 again, which is good.
A very consistent day 1 for you. Are we finally seeing the new French team?
Yeah, I think it's only about our mindset, which we work on that for a few months, and I think it's getting in a good shape now, and really happy with this year.
We didn't have great starts yesterday. I think pretty much every start we were down the back of the fleet, which obviously makes life difficult, but then we did a good job pushing through the fleet from there. So today, focusing on those starts, trying to get off the line in decent shape. We need a couple of good races. If we can do that, we'll be right in the mix.
Getting closer to the final race here. It'll be a championship Sunday. There you see CEO of SailGP, Sir Russell Coutts, and the Duchess of Cambridge taking in the racing as we approach 5 minutes to go here. Well, it's going to be a great track, as Lisa pointed out, Stevie, but lots of spots, plenty of places to make some passes.
We saw yesterday how important the start is, and it'll be definitive once again today. Fast along leg 1, the sprint begins. Leading at this point will define a good race for your crew. Now, however, it's decision time. You can split from each other, or, in this instance, take the early turn, take the shortest route to gate number 2. A gusty, strong wind on the Sound today means that gate will arrive quickly, and the next crucial decision of the race. As you approach gate 2, you can turn left or right. For the leading boats, they'll be looking to select the best side of the course, which they think has more wind and is going to give them a shorter time up the leg. If you're behind, however, you might choose the other direction to try and avoid sailing slower in the leader's disturbed wind. We've got to remember that sailboats can't sail directly into the wind, so they sail as close to as they can at angles of about 45 degrees. Top of the course again, another gate, another opportunity. Follow or split. It's a chance to gain, but also potentially a chance to overtake. Plymouth Sound offers a unique feature with a strong current running into the harbour today, forcing the crews to consider that amongst their tactical choices. What's it going to take to win? Well, we need a good start. We're going to have to try and foil the boat high and fast, but if you manage to lead at the last turning point of Gate 6, you can enjoy a glorious run to the finish in front of the fans on Plymouth Hoe.
So that's the course that they will be battling out today on the Great Britain Sail Grand Prix from Plymouth, as everyone gets into position, coming up on 3.5 minutes to go for the start of race number 4, which will be followed by race number 5. Then the field gets cut only to the top 3. So Stevie, hearing what Lisa had to say down on the water and what you've seen from the number of the data that's coming through, what do you expect today?
Well, I don't know, but great camera shot we've got here. We've got Ben Ainsley and the British crew practicing their starting. That was their problem yesterday, but you can't count him out. He's got a big countdown to come back to do today.
And Emily, same for you as you look at the data?
It's going to be a big day out there, all about linking the pressure, keeping those speeds up. Important for the strategist to keep an eye on those clouds and find the next breeze.
Well, we got a chance here to go on board the Kiwi boat and catch up the event leaders at the moment. Pete's looking a bit busy. I wonder if Blair's around for a quick chat. And Blair, it looked like you're taking your time to get to the front of the SailGP fleet. Yesterday was a fantastic day out there, Blair. What's the big difference? What's changed to find yourself at the front of the fleet?
Yeah, it was certainly a good day for us yesterday. Quite a different day today. Really wind. So yeah, we'll see how we go. Cruising here for another. We're into it. 2 minutes, 20 seconds.
Okay, good luck for that one there, Blair. Have a good race.
So the Kiwis looking very good right now. Stevie, they are holding on to 28 points. It would almost have to be a disaster for them not to make it into the top 3. The way they've been selling, you don't expect anything. Great Britain, though, the bottom of the screen, I think all the pressure's on them. Obviously, they want to be into that final in home waters. And for the Americans, again, it has not been their regatta.
I think everyone from 2nd overall to 6th overall really is in the mix. The Kiwis are in a position now where I think they should be able to hang on. It's almost a case of imagine if they lose it from here, really. It would take 2 disastrous races, I think, for New Zealand to not be in that final. But yeah, for Ben Ainsley, he has to get off the start line. Yesterday just didn't seem to be able to get into the race.
90 seconds to go until the start of race number 4. It's Championship Sunday here in Plymouth. As the Americans look to turn their fortunes around, they had problems in Bermuda and Chicago. And right now, they're probably already thinking about the next event, which is coming up August 19th and 20th in Copenhagen, Denmark. But right now, there's work to be done as we come up on a minute to go before the start of race number 4 here on Championship Sunday at the Great Britain Sail Grand Prix of Plymouth. So 1 minute to go for the start of the race. Stevie, we've seen everyone coming from the back, the left side of the screen. We've seen people try to hug that inside line on the right side of the screen. Where do you think the fastest track is?
I think at the moment you can see the pre-positioning happening.
This is the umpires. Penalty New Zealand, relative Switzerland.
Ooh. Wow,
right off the bat.
Said it was going to take 2 big mistakes. Well, you're making a mistake at 40 seconds out there. They're going to need to start back behind the Swiss boat here at the start line. Disaster. Top of screen. Great Britain and Ben Ainsley. He was the first boat heading back towards the start line. Great Britain and USA, they're in good controlling position here. They should be well set for a start. Lisa talked about it being very gusty on the water, so getting up on the foils, judging that acceleration is going to be really hard. Now we're coming in. The French early back towards the line. Out the back of the fleet at the moment, Canada, Switzerland and Spain are going to struggle from here, but with 7 seconds to go, it's going to be Great Britain. USA, they've got the boats up to speed. The French foiling in fast. Watch for the lines turn white. It's a clear start. The French at nearly 52 kilometres an hour. They're going to be fast as we head towards Mark 1. Delapierre with the pressure on. Looks like he's going to lead the fleet away.
Simple math as the French hit the line at full speed as they will make the move to mark number 1 first. The Americans and Great Britain with a great start this time.
It's a brilliant start by the French boat, Delapierre. He had a fantastically consistent day yesterday. Jimmy Spithill, well, he's been starting well. Can he stay where he starts? They need a big result on board the USA. They need to get the boat handling good. And there, Rockwell and Denmark, this really does open up the competition to make that final place.
France holding down the 3rd and final position into the final right now. The Americans, they are way down in the leaderboard. In Great Britain, they are battling for their life to get into the top 3. Who's going to blink first?
Nice move on the French, looking for this hull to the left of your screen to stay dry. If it does, it's a good foiling manoeuvre. They're on the foils, they look good. Gate 2, top of the screen, that's where they're all heading to at the moment, and you can see, looking at these ladder lines, nearly 100 metres ahead is the French and Quentin de la Pierre, and he has the ability to make his own decisions. When it's shifty like this, there's an opportunity to sail less distance, and the French can take that.
And here you've got the French doing 60 kilometres an hour downwind. That's equivalent to around 30 knots. So those are the numbers we should be looking out for today.
Great job by the French here now. They look like they're lined up for a right turn at the bottom of the course. Ainsley on board the British boat. He's overtaken the Americans down here, but that's a lovely rounding by the French. If you're in the lead in these conditions, you get to make your own choices. All the boats look keen on a right turn, and again, potentially 2 places lost by the US at the moment. They've sailed a little too wide, a little bit too much extra distance, and Nikolai Sehested, he's in the battle for the top 3 as well, and the Denmark Rockwall team round in 3rd. Good first leg by them.
So the Americans hoping at gate number 2 that this falling back is not going to be a trend. They were in 2nd place at Mark 1. They decide to make a quick maneuver here, and it will be the Americans in 4th, but it is all France all the time right now in the lead.
There we go. Quentin de la Pierre doing well, but New Zealand back in 7th. Well, luckily they had a good race yesterday, so they should be still in strong position. At the moment, there's been a big shift in the wind. Look, the wind has turned to the right. The crews are struggling to progress up the ladder line. They're nearly sailing parallel to it. It's not good news for the French, could be good news for Jimmy Spittle, and it'll certainly be opportunity for Peter Burling and his New Zealand crew to get back in the race.
And to Stevie's point, look at this. Look at the angle they're sailing back up into the wind as the Americans now pull even with the French.
There's a lot of pressure on the American boat, but a lot of the debrief last night was quite positive. They were quite happy. They felt things were going well. Look at them on the right-hand side. Tucked down, streamlined position, French in the background. When they next turn the boat, the Americans will have the right of way. So at the moment, for me, the Americans hold the lead, and there you go. The lines there show us that's the case.
And the speeds here are showing the split across the course. The USA are on the right side of the course, the Australians on the left. So far, we've seen the US with more breeze on that right-hand side, holding higher average speeds.
The question is, can Jimmy Spithill and the Americans hold on to this lead over the next 5 legs of this race and pick up a win here?
Look at the direction change on board the American boat there. They turn across there. The wind has shifted. That's an opportunity to minimize the distance you sail. They've turned away from the gate. They turn the boat one more time now. All of them cross the... Oh, it's a bad turn on the American boat, though. In the wind at the moment, it's Denmark. They've got more wind. They're sailing a lot faster.
Denmark decides to make a maneuver, and off to their left-hand side now, Great Britain and Ben Ainsley getting into the picture. So now we've got 4 boats as they approach the next gate.
It's like snakes and ladders out there at the moment, Todd. If you can get yourself in a gust of wind and get going faster, the chance to jump up the leaderboard is huge. 200 metres to go. Those arrows showing us the direction of travel for the fleet. And America from 1st back to 4th in the blink of an eye. And it's Ben Ainsley in Great Britain now setting up for a manoeuvre. In the background, Denmark are going to turn at the same time. Let's watch them turn. Oh, bad tack by Denmark. They just save it. Good save. Do they get clear ahead? It's going to be tight, but I think they are. Could be a lead at gate 3 for Denmark.
It's crucial here for Denmark and the Great British team to beat the Australians if they want a chance at making the final.
As it stands right now, as France is going to have to dip behind the USA, they had the right of way. As it stands right now, it is New Zealand, Australia, and France holding down those top 3 positions. And we'll see how it plays out on the next race.
Big manoeuvre by Ainsley there. The tack and then another turn at the top to bear the boat away. Denmark in the background manoeuvre the boat one more time. The wind is shifting all the time. What that means is you've got to try and keep the boat pointing towards the next gate as much as possible. Minimise the distance you sail. That's how you're going to be able to overtake other boats. Shortest distance, really important today. And Denmark, Nikolai Sehested, doing a lovely job of piecing that all together at the moment. Here we go. Ben Ainsley looks good.
All right, let's check in down on the water with Lisa Darmanin.
Oh, it's so challenging out here. I've just been watching, not knowing which way to go, but I think the key today is sailing a shorter distance. It's super, super puffy, as I said at the beginning, but I think what the sailors really have to be onto is that the wind you're sailing is not necessarily the same wind as your competitors. So it's a really sail your own race and sail shorter distance day out here.
Stevie, are they thinking one, maybe even two maneuvers ahead, knowing that what Lisa's saying, the wind is so shifty today?
Absolutely. They're trying to position themselves as best they can, but what they really need to be doing is focusing on their boat and letting themselves sail the boat well to be looking ahead. Yeah, that's Sehested. He thinks he might be able to make it straight to the gate with no more turns, but it's going to be tight. On the inside, it's Ainsley. He will have the right of way.
Oh
this is so tight here. Sehested must give him room. Oh, that was a tight manoeuvre by Ainsley, but what a manoeuvre. He's on the inside. I'm surprised if there won't be a protest. Sehested pushed that so close. But Ainsley, well, he needed to deliver in race 4 today. Be nothing better than a first-place finish to help him in his fight for the final.
Let's look at that one more time. Stevie, you talk about Great Britain have the right of way. Look on board with Denmark.
Great Britain are on the inside. They're allowed to turn around that mic. Sehested and Denmark must give him room. It was tight, but for me it was fair. That was a good, tight racing manoeuvre. Ainsley saw a chance and took it.
So the rest of the fleet making their way down to the bottom of the course. Meanwhile, it is Denmark and Great Britain out in front, both of them on the outside looking in, trying to get into the top 3. And a 1-2 finish here for both of these squads, Stevie and Emily, would be huge going forward.
I think we need to probably take a breath and have a little bit of a think about the scores. But yes, looking ahead to the race for the final, for Denmark and Great Britain, this is amazing. But there's no sign of Canada. There's no sign of Australia. The pressure's really on. Oh, here we go. On to turning the boat. They have the right of way on Denmark, but Ainsley looks like he's clear ahead. He sets up for one more turn. It's going to be a match race between these two at the head of the fleet. But can the French, can the Australians find their way back into the race? It's tight. Certainly, at the moment, de la Pierre's not going away, but he has a penalty.
Quentin Delapierre in France have a penalty to absolve. You see the P next to their name, traveling at 43 kilometers an hour. Tom Slingsby, the two-time defending champion, the winner of the first 2 events of the season, he currently sits in 4th place. But it is on in full with Denmark and Great Britain battling for position here on the Plymouth Sound.
This is going to be huge when we look at the points. With the British winning, if they win this race, that's another 10 points. They'll be ahead of the Kiwis as it currently stands.
Great turn by the British there. Denmark, of course, 2012 when Ben Ainsley won his 4th gold medal. The silver medalist then was a Danish sailor. Jonas Christensen heavily involved with the Danish team, so he's been here before. He knows how to deliver underwater. This is the final upwind leg, not a lot of the race left. And there's Ben Ainsley taking a look at what's happened.
And look at Australia coming into view as well. So it'll be up to the top of the course, then back down, and then the long straightaway blast to the finish line for the conclusion of race number 4. And right now it is Great Britain, Ben Ainsley and squad doing exactly what they needed to do. But here comes Slingsby.
Slingsby and Australia have the right of way. Denmark must take avoiding action. That's going to be tight. They've done a nice job, but that's Slingsby up to 2nd. He's sailing fantastically in these shifty winds, managing to minimise the distance.
Right, gate 120 it is.
Ainsley and Ian Jensen, the wing trim, are talking to each other. They're trying to make a plan. Are we going to turn right at the top? Are we going to turn left at the top? Listening in on the British. Oh, there we go. Sorry about the industrial language there. Winds dropped completely for the British and shifted. They've fallen off the foils. They're vulnerable. They're a sitting duck at the moment. They need to re-accelerate. Look at the speed difference. Top of mast, 20 kilometres now, Great Britain. Australia, 38. They need to get foiling again on the British boat, or they could lose vital points.
And quickly back up and foiling. So Ben Ainsley and squad do a masterful job as the rest of the fleet was closing in on them. Now it's Tom Slingsby in Australia cutting on the inside of Denmark, and they will take over 2nd position.
Very, very weird pressure plane, Stand by. And board.
Remember, coming in today was all New Zealand with 28 points. Emily, they are having not the best race, that is an understatement, but they can afford to have a problem here. The rest of the fleet, though, it's 6 boats basically battling for 3 positions.
It is, but having a result this bad could really impact the Kiwis. The Brits here are going to move ahead of them on the leaderboard after this race, and the Danish are also going to be closing that gap dramatically with the French and the Aussies.
Canada also having a problematic day here in race number 4 after picking up a big victory yesterday, and then that one incident where they put the nose into the water and they finished in 9th place. So Phil Robertson looking for a big rebound. Steve, this is going to put huge amount of implications on race 5.
It's a lot on it, but look, the wind is changing direction all the time. The British, they've sailed a long distance, top of screen. Slingsby's almost sailing straight down the course at the moment, straight towards the gate. Has Ainsley made this call right? On paper, the Australians are neck and neck with the British. It's going to depend on how many more turns there are to do. I think off the screen, Peter Burling has managed to pull a bit of a rabbit out of a hat and gotten himself back into the race. It's tight. One more turn for the Australians. Here they go. They have the right of way, but have they closed the gap to Ainsley and the British? It doesn't look like it to me.
And look at the speed difference. Great Britain still hovering around 54 kilometers an hour. The Australians drop down to 45.
Great shot here, top of screen. Look at those dark patches of water. Look at the different colours on the water. That's gusts of wind. And at the moment you can see it, a big gust of wind, top of screen, New Zealand doing 60 kilometres an hour. They're absolutely flying back into this race.
So the Kiwis have moved up to 5th place, just one spot behind France. They hold down positions 1 and 3 currently on the overall standings, but it is Ben Ainsley that has made the left-hand turn, and he's heading towards the Hoe, and all the fans that have turned out to see a great British performance. Remember, this is a huge weekend of sporting events in England with the Commonwealth Games, SailGP, and of course the Women's Euro title game, England versus Germany. And here's where they stand at the moment, Emily.
And if the results stay like this for this race, New Zealand will still be in the lead, but British team will be going into that final. But it's still all to play for. Another race to go after this.
And Great Britain will bring it home and pick up the victory in race number 4, a much-needed showing for Ben Ainsley and company.
There we go, that's the voice of Ian Jensen talking about what's ahead as they sail back towards the Hoe. There's a lot more land around. That land will block the wind, will shift the wind around, change the direction of it. Still all to play for. That's why Ben Ainsley was looking out the back there, checking where his opposition are. And we can see now those points are going to be so tight.
Probably will have to tack here.
And race number 4 will go the way of Great Britain. Ben Ainsley, after not the best performance on day number 1, comes back in day number 2, and the first race of the day sends a message to the rest of the fleet. The Brits are back as they claim the win in race 4. So Great Britain comes across the line, and it is official. Great Britain will win race number 4, much to the delight of the fans up on the Hoe.
Great job there. He said, nice hustle, guys. And I think without doubt that was a real hustle for Ben Ainsley and the crew. They really worked hard on the wind shift. It was tight at times. Nikolai Sehersted and his crew put up a fantastic battle. But yeah, we can see it's so shifty, so changeable. You've got to stay focused on your own world. Great job by the Danish, great job by the British. And Australia, again, he does seem so good at working his way back through the fleet. Showing 3rd at the moment. Still some sailing to do yet for the Australian boat to get across that line, though.
Well, everyone doing some quick work on the abacus right now to find out exactly where these points will put them. Great work by the Australians and Tom Slingsby, the 2-time defending champions, as they will finish in 3rd place. And the French and Quentin Delapierre will come into 4th.
There's really big changes in the wind direction across there, and we can see the Australians lost the Danish on that last leg. They got caught out by a big change of direction in the wind. Canada, look at the left-hand side of the screen. They were so good yesterday, bar that one mistake, but a 9th place. That could pretty much end their hope of a podium finish here in Plymouth. Delapierre and the French crew, well, they've done well. Look, New Zealand in the background. They're having to do an extra 2 turns to get to the finish line. The wind is so tricky and changeable under the Hoe. This race is not going to be over until it's over.
The Americans also in the same boat.
Oh, you see
look
there.
At this.
That was the voice of Peter Burling. I've lost the rudders. They fell too high. You can see in the bottom of the screen the water there all foamy and ventilating, that's no good. But coming across the line in fifth place for New Zealand, and it's Jimmy Spitter. Wow, it was near but not quite again for the American crew. Another 6th place finish. Wow, it all happened on that final leg in towards Plymouth. A lot of changes. 7th place for Spain and Jordi Chamar after a tricky day before. Seb Schneider and the Swiss team going to get an 8th, and wow, disaster for Canada, Todd.
Yeah, you look at Canada, they win the first race in race number 1 yesterday, and then they come back and have that problem where they had put the nose in. They finish in 9th, but then they back it up in race number 3 with a 3rd, and then they start day 2 out with another 9th place, Stevie. And to your point, that is almost going to seek their chances of getting into that final. Yeah, I mean, it was a mistake yesterday where they flew off the foils, broke the boat. I mean, this is just it's a tricky tactical day's racing out here. It's the kind of day today where mistakes can happen, but if you've already had a bad one, you just have to deliver. And wow, the British crew to come out firing with a 1st place finish is great, but limping across the line in last place. Yeah, probably the first time they've ever finished last in a race. It's going to be interesting how Phil Robertson can try and pick that crew back up, see if they can give one big finish at the end of the racing here. Wow, exciting racing here to kick things off on Championship Sunday here at the Great Britain Sail Grand Prix in Plymouth, and the home team delivers. Ben Ainsley and crew get it done with a great victory. They get the 10 points. Denmark 2nd, Australia 3rd, and France keeps their hopes alive in 4th. Then it's New Zealand, the USA, Spain, Switzerland, and a bad result for Canada. Well, here we go, and when we look at what that means at the moment on the overall leaderboard, take a look. Ben Ainsley in 3rd place. We talked about being consistently average. He's turned that around today, straight out the blocks with a 1st place. New Zealand 5th place in race 4, not really good enough. And for Canada, well, now they're really struggling. Some 7 points off of a podium, having finished 9th in race 4. It's all to play for this final 3 places. The gold standard of flight control in the Australian Jason Waterhouse. He's the sailor who flies the boat consistently the highest, and as you know, the higher you fly it, the faster you go.
You can only wonder where a talent like Jason comes from. It feels like you're watching a once-in-a-lifetime kind of sailor.
Honestly, I think it's just his feel. He just gets boats. Jason Waterhouse, by the age of, I think, 12 years old, he'd been around the world twice with his family.
When I was young, my parents said, let's sell the houses, the cars, and let's buy a yacht and go explore the world on a yacht. So we did a few different trips, you know, sometimes 3 weeks away from any land. But there's so many stories like hurricanes, pirate attacks, you know, remote islands with not seeing any other people. My earliest memory of, you know, being on the ocean was I was a little boy, I was only 5, and my dad used to play a trick on me. He knew we'd be approaching land, but we couldn't see it. And he'd say, Jason, you know, get your magic shark tooth and rub it and wish for land. And he knew it was coming, obviously, but I didn't. And I used to just wish and say, yes, I want land, you know, I want ice cream and chocolate and toys. And then, sure enough, a few hours later, Jason, look, there's an island. You've found the island. So that's kind of my earliest memories.
Oh, I don't know how he does it. He's colourblind, and so the ride height marks he can't see that well. Maybe that's got something to do with it, but whatever he's doing, it's working.
The 2-time defending champions make it 2 in a row.
This is ridiculous. Nice move. You can fly the boat.
Championship Sunday here in Great Britain at the Great Britain Sail Grand Prix in Plymouth, and Britain's Ocean City hosted the 3rd event of Season 3. Alongside Emily Nagel and Stevie Morrison, I'm Todd Harris. Lisa Darmanin down on the water. At the conclusion of race number 4, it is Great Britain that takes top honors with Denmark and Australia. France and New Zealand rounding out the top 5, but Stevie, we're getting word that there may be a problem on board Australia's boat. Yeah, it seems like they maybe got a little bit of damage to the rudder. It could be many reasons for that. Look, that's a rudder there coming off the boat. And maybe we can go on board with Tom Slingsby. Tom, can see some fairly dramatic scenes on board your Australian boat at the minute. Could you give us a bit of an idea as to what's happening out there, Tom?
Yeah, we got in yesterday with, and we had a bit of damage to our rudder. And yeah, it looked like pretty serious damage, but we got it scanned and they said it was all clear. Then they just repainted it and gave it to us, and the same rudder has gone out and broken today. So, yeah, quite frustrating for us. We're doing everything we can to get a spare rudder in the boat, but yeah, I don't know what's going to happen yet.
Well, you did a pretty good job by managing to get yourself a third-place finish in that race, still sitting in second overall, and it looks like a bit more of a tactical day than a boat speed day. Is that a fair diagnosis?
Yeah, the wind is really tough out here. It's up and down, probably 10, 12 knots differences between the gusts and the lulls, and then really shifty, really unstable breeze.
Well, hopefully means that the rudder won't be such a big issue. I think we should probably let you get back to it, but good luck getting that changed and hope to see you ready for the next race.
Okay, thank you.
Well, here we go. Of course, it was the start. It was such a gusty wind, as he described. It was hard for the fleet to judge things. The three boats, France, USA and Great Britain, they're leading the fleet back, hardly being challenged at the start. Unbelievable, really, with the rest of the fleet wallowing on two hulls. And when we got to the gun at 1 second there, look at that. So unusual to see the fleet that far back. France, though, 10, 15 kilometres an hour faster than anyone else, and that speed they converted to a lead at Mark 1.
Well, there's the fleet getting ready in Australia, still having the work done. We had a moment just to talk with Tom Slingsby. Seemed like he was pretty calm. They've got the best in the business working on there, and they're going to try to get them up and running so they can stay in the fight with one race to go before the big final. Let's go on board with Great Britain, Ben Ainslie. You've had a busy day today, Ben. You needed that win more than anything else. How did you get it done? What was the difference between this race and the last race yesterday?
The start. Quite frankly, the start was a lot better. We were in the top of the fleet and guys did a great job staying in the boat. Very tricky, wind was all over the place, so we did an okay job of staying in the breeze and executed some good manoeuvres. So yeah, we needed the win, need another good race now to get ourselves into that final three. It's pretty tricky out here.
Well, Ben, it looks a little bit like the nose course in Weymouth where you won that gold medal 10 years ago. How do you see the day going? You've got yourself right back, tied for third place. Are we going to see another golden performance from you today, do you think?
Well, we're trying. You're right, it's really tricky. You can see the wind's moving around a lot. It's shifting about 50 or 60 degrees, which is a lot in this sport. So it's a bit of rolling the dice, a bit of trying to just stay in the breeze and, of course, get a decent start. If you can do all of that, you'll probably do okay.
Take us on board the boat, Ben. I presume you're making the decisions, but you've got next to you there, I can see on your right-hand side, Ian Jensen, Luke Parkinson. How much communication's having to happen on a day like this?
Yeah, the whole team's really feeding in. You know, Hannah here behind me is also helping out with the breeze and the other boats positioning. And Nico and Neil, Shrek's on for this race. Really the power and getting the trimming right. So it takes everyone on board to really work well together, and when the wind's changing so much up and down, we have to reset the boat, constantly trim it and adjust it, and that takes a lot of skill from everyone on board. So big team effort on a day like today.
Well, it certainly looked like you got things well. We saw you had a very high-profile coach on before who clearly sorted out your starting, which was good to see. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the racing. Thanks for putting on a show and good luck in race 4.
Cheers, Stevie.
Well, a fantastic job by Ben Ainslie, and keeping all those nicknames straight is one of the great things that he does out there, because he's got a crew and interchangeable names here and there. Well, as we mentioned, the Duchess of Cambridge, patron of the 1851 Trust, on site here, taking in the action of SailGP. Doing a fantastic job. Now, she met the Great Britain SailGP team and joined a group of children taking part in the Protect Our Future sustainability program before heading out on the water with Sir Ben Ainslie. Always keen to chat with the kids and find out what they're doing and how they're doing, and she showed a real interest. Now, everyone knows that the Duchess of Cambridge is quite a keen sailor in her own right, and so she made herself right at home here with not only the kids, but the sailors. And she is a quick study out on the water, as Sir Ben Ainslie will tell you. She got kitted up, she was ready to go, and then it was the transport out on the water. Four-time Olympic gold medalist Sir Ben Ainslie was there to help her out. And then it was all on as the Commonwealth race against New Zealand took center stage here at the Plymouth Sound.
But they should have a faster angle. Let's watch for the light to turn white, and the start's clear. It's a clear start in the Commonwealth race. Here we go. Great start by Great Britain. They turn the boat 56 kilometres an hour, and it's now a drag race from here towards mark number 1, the turning mark. On the helm, the Duchess of Cambridge. Wing trimmer Ian Jensen. Communication already good. Sir Ben Ainslie trying to feed the information on this gusty breeze out here on Plymouth Sound. Mark 1 straight in front of us.
And against the Duchess of Cambridge, we have Lewis Q, UN Patron of the Oceans.
So they're coming in hot here at the first mark, and this will be tricky
for the manoeuvre. Spins the boat. Look at the G-forces there on the crew. Can they stay on the foils? Watching the boat here on the foil. Now the time to cross the boat. Technical footwork required. Lovely tack from the British team. And now, looks like a few metres in the lead. They're well set up now. Speed building slowly on both boats. New Zealand have fallen off the foils. It's going to be hard for them from here. Duchess of Cambridge back on the wheel, and it's a sprint.
Duchess of Cambridge taking direction from Sir Ben Ainslie as they stretch their lead now over 100 meters over the Kiwis here in the Commonwealth race.
You did much better than we did yesterday.
Ben Ainslie there, we're in good shape. That's what everyone wants to hear. Tactician in this moment, Ben Ainslie. Lovely tactician to have next to you. Four-time Olympic gold medalist, making sure with 200 meters to go, there shouldn't be any mistakes.
Perfect conditions, perfect racing, and the Commonwealth race will go the way of Great Britain. Checkmate as the Brits take the win over the Kiwis. So as the Duchess of Cambridge and the rest of the team receive their trophy given by Sir Russell Coutts, the CEO of SailGP, and the Commonwealth race goes the way of Great Britain. And looking live now at the Duchess, talking with Russell Coutts, taking it all in. And Stevie, she is all about the sailing, because you thought maybe she'll come in, do one race, and then take off. But no, she's sticking around to watch the best sailors in the world duke it out on the Plymouth Sound.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fantastic performance out there, and clearly had a positive effect on the British team.
All right, let's take a look at it. 4 races complete. There you see it, 34 points. New Zealand leads the way. 5 boats will battle it out for 3 spots. When we come back, it'll be race 5 next.
Coming away in 2. Here we go.
The USA are in. Are they going to survive? I don't think they are. Yes, they have. Good job by the USA to hold that. The Great Britain team above it. The USA still aren't out of this yet. They've got to try and stop it. Looks like they're gone. No, the tip of the wing is in the water.
We've got a big issue in the middle of the fleet here. Nathan Outteridge, very late to manoeuvre, and he's collided with the US crew. This is a big moment on board here. The Japanese boat on board the American boat. Hopefully no one's hurt, but that was a big misjudgment from Outteridge.
One gust, though too strong, saw the Spanish boat capsize. The sailors are all safe and okay, but the boat suffered extensive damage. You can see the top part of the wing completely ripped off.
They stopped it. This could be over. Capsize coming.
Oh, and a capsize for Great Britain in the finale. And so now it is 2 boats battling for the title as Australia sails away.
Oh, there's a collision on the American boat and the Spanish boat. Oh my lord!
Round up when you want. Okay, let's keep going.
No, the British crew have crashed out. No lights there, lost control of the boat. There's going to be disaster for the Japanese and the British. That's unbelievable. A massive miscalculation from Ainslie. And there is no power on the Japanese boat. Disaster for the Japanese team.
Go, go, go.
So back in the Plymouth Sound, this is 3 minutes plus until the start of race number 5, and then we will slice the field down to the top 3. It'll take place in the big final here at the Great Britain Sail Grand Prix here in Plymouth. A beautiful day in Britain's Ocean City.
This is the race committee. We are pushing the start of race 5 to 14:48.
So there you hear the voice of Mel Roberts, the race management, and they are pushing that race back. So there you see the clock adjusting too. And that is, I'm imagining, Stevie, to give Australia a chance to get that rudder attached.
Yeah, I mean, it's not an easy fix, that. You saw them having to take the whole rudder out from under the water off the back of the boat, replace it with a new one, and absolutely, I mean, we can't really have our championship leader not given every opportunity to get their boat fixed if it was something really out of their control. So hopefully things have managed to be fixed on that Australian boat. Looks hopeful, not got a full shore crew on board, and no doubt Tom and his crew will be refocusing, resetting, and getting ready to go.
So, Emily, how nervous are you, though, knowing that you have a brand new rudder out there, and just say, I hope they put that on tight?
It's definitely going to be in the back of your mind, but it's also showing the innovation that these boats have kind of developed over the past couple of years. Back in season 1, they would have had to lift the entire boat out of the water with a crane in order to switch the rudders. Now, since season 2, they've been able to do this change on the water a lot faster.
So 2 minutes to go to the start of race number 5, and this will give us a really good idea. Emily, you've crunched the numbers. New Zealand on 34, Australia on 30, Great Britain and France tied on 29, and Denmark still with a shot, sitting on 27 points. And Stevie, for my money, the pressure's really got to be on the shoulders of Ben Ainslie and Great Britain to make it into that final.
Well, they've certainly delivered so far, and he alluded to it there. It's a shifty, gusty day, and I think our Women's Pathway programme, Hannah Diamond at the back of the boat there in the strategist role, being able to get their head out and take the time, try and stay composed when you're racing in front of a home crowd must be really a big deal. So I think for all the strategists at the back of the boat, it's a big day. Time to take a breath, get your head out of the boat. Look, what you're looking for is the darker patches of water. If you can find more wind and sail faster, you're going to have an awful lot easier race. But yeah, 1:15 to go. Pre-start manoeuvring is underway.
Lisa Darman's reporting of the shifty winds confirmed by both Thomas Slingsby and Ben Ainslie, so we'll see if those conditions persist here as we are 1 minute away now from the start of race 5. All right, so now the dance begins to get in the right position. Stevie, I'm sure you're going to see some teams taking some high-risk opportunities to get themselves into that final. For everyone else, if you don't make it in the top 3, your day is done.
Todd, we had a great camera angle there. The wind is really changed in direction. The boats are able to sail almost parallel to the start line. The wind almost coming off Drake's Island to the left of our screen. This means this is not a normal start. It's a rethink, it's a replan. Who's going to get the plan right? Who can think on their feet? Because routine is out the window. It's about dealing what you've got in the moment. Great Britain at the bottom of the line. New Zealand at the top of the line. Two different visions here. Who's got it right? France are going to struggle to get on the foils from there. It's all about getting your timing right and your takeoff right. France way out the back at the moment. Great Britain, they're slumbering down, sat off the foils, and at the top of the line it's going to be tight. 6 seconds, 5 seconds locked for the line to go white. New Zealand and Australia look to have timed things well. Who can get foiling first? That will be crucial. New Zealand, they're going to be second across the line, really tight here, but look, already a manoeuvre for Canada. The wind has rotated so far. The course is not as planned. Opportunity aplenty for everyone, but it's about finding the wind to get on the foils, and I think New Zealand are building speed. Look at the top of the wings, and the magic number we're looking for here on the takeoff is going to be around 30 kilometers an hour to get up in the air.
So a much different start than we've seen in races previous to this here at the Great Britain Sail Grand Prix in Plymouth as the wind cooperated, and as Stevie said, now it is time to change the tactics all the way. The Mark 1 is off the left-hand side, and no one is up and foiling as of yet.
We said that was the voice of Pete Burling. I don't know where the mark is. Pretty crucial.
This is when you need that extra set of eyes, and now it seems like they have spotted it, and now the course to the left-hand side.
35 kilometers an hour there for New Zealand. That means they're going to be up on the foils here. Australians as well starting to pick up speed. The Danish shouldn't be too far behind them now.
That's good news for Denmark right now, currently sitting in 3rd place. As they come up on mark number 1 on the left-hand side, going where the wind takes them, and look at the speed starting to pick up now for the Kiwis and the Aussies, 1 and 2.
Rich get richer, you get on the foils, you start to accelerate, you build more of your own wind, and New Zealand there, they have converted that great start into a lead despite the tricky conditions. But wow, it's already a different course. They've sailed a lot of extra distance than they'd like to so far. It's going to be about trying to spot the wind, trying to minimise the distance you sail from here.
Down from there.
Now, in order for the Danish to make the final, they need to keep some boats in between them and the British, because right now the British are 2 points ahead of them on that leaderboard.
France also even with Great Britain on 29, so Denmark will certainly be crunching the numbers to make sure the French and the British are way behind, or at least 2 or 3 positions behind them, so they can get that third and final spot. The way it stands right now, though, if the race were to end at this position, it would be New Zealand, Australia, and Denmark getting into that final.
There's a lot of golf left in this hole, Todd, I can assure you of that. USA take a penalty over there on the boundary, but then New Zealand, well, they were dominant yesterday, struggled in the first race here today, but they've got themselves up and running. Look, camera angle there shows us dark patch of water near the Swiss. That's a big gust of wind. There's less wind where Australia are, and it's no surprise to see them turn the boat. They're trying to find wind, and they're falling off the foils. Under 30 kilometres an hour, there's a dead in the water on those 2 boats. It's all going to be a long, long race. It's going to get tense.
New Zealand, Australia in good positions, and right now Canada and the USA are Denmark's best friends. If they can stay in between Denmark and Great Britain and France, that means the Danes will go through to the final.
This will change in a blink of an eye, Todd. Top of the screen, there's a huge dark patch on the water. That's a big gust of wind, and we can see the boats at the bottom here. They've run out of wind at the moment. 18 kilometres an hour. Don't be surprised to see a complete reshuffle. Good news, left-hand side of screen, Denmark up on the foils. They're going to very quickly be in the lead here.
And Canada has moved into first place as the conditions continue to move around. We check in on the water with Lisa. And Lisa, tell us what it's like down there. What are you seeing and what are you seeing and what are you feeling?
Well, we're so close to the hills of Plymouth that it's really like you don't know what's going to happen until the wind hits the water. So it's really hard to anticipate. We saw so many teams get caught out there. So I think we could see a full reshuffle again. There's plenty of wind at the top of the course, but there's nothing at the bottom of the course where all the boats are now. So I'd be pretty nervous on those F50s at the moment. And I think there's going to be a lot of patience needed as well.
Plenty of patience needed, and well, no one's been more patient than the New Zealand crew. Okay, that's the voice of Blair Tuke talking to Pete Burling. It's still light winds here. Be careful. If it's light winds, mouse and carpet slippers. Everything needs to be gentle. Keep it smooth. Try and minimise the number of times you turn. Here we go. Australia, what a move by Slingsby. Swings the boat around on the inside. Didn't think there was room for that, but he's found it. And in the background, Canada as well. They're back in the race. But only boat foiling at the front of the fleet now is Australia. New Zealand again down under 16 kilometres an hour. Ben Ainsley struggling for speed, but Australia, look at him go.
And we're getting information from race management that the race has been shortened. It will terminate at gate number 4. So they are on leg 3 of 7. Again, it will terminate at gate number 4, and the race will conclude, and hopefully the wind will build for the final. But look at Canada. They were in first. They are now in 4th, both holes in the water.
Just so gusty and changeable the conditions here. Meters are going to move all over the place. New Zealand, they were so comfortably in the lead early on here. Ainsley, 7th place at the moment on board the British boat, but he's doing well. Out in the front, how are the Australians doing? Oh, they've run out of wind as well. Here we go. They're going to be gripping that steering wheel. So tense at the moment. Look at that, Tom. Let's listen to Tom. Carl Langford and Tom Slingsby, they're trying to guess what the wind's going to do next. It's so slow, so delicate. It's all about finding that next gust of wind. Look in the background. Rockwell and Denmark look like they're starting to go fast. Ainsley in 4th, up on the foils. That could be enough at this point. He needs to catch Rockwell, Denmark. He needs to be within 2 places of them to make the final. Ainsley's on a charge. Has he left it too late, or can he find a way back into this race?
And another splashdown. Great Britain runs out of wind. So it's New Zealand, Denmark, Australia, Great Britain, and the USA. The top 5 right now here in race number 5. Remember, only the top 3 teams overall will move on to the final.
Definitely more wind on this left-hand side of the course, Todd. That's where Great Britain are, that's where New Zealand are, so that's good news for them. Australia to the right of the screen, they're struggling to find that wind, and at the moment, Denmark back on the foils. It's going to be so tight.
This race to the final is the tightest we have ever seen here. The Danish right now are just ahead of the Aussies. That would put them tied on points if they were to finish like this. Meanwhile, the British are just behind them and have been doing the best speeds out of everyone so far in this last leg.
And as you look at tiebreakers, Emily, as it comes down to the final race, if there is a tie for third between Denmark and Great Britain, how is that going to be settled?
It will come down to whoever won the last race.
Well, here we go, but I don't know, we need to think about everyone here. This is changing all the time. Great Britain, if they pass Australia, Great Britain are ahead of Australia on the overall points. So this is very tight as the boats work the way upwind here. Denmark, well, they've cemented things down, got themselves up and foiling. It's so gusty, so changeable, and look in the background. They're struggling to get even going. Ainsley knows he must beat the Australians, but out in front, Burling's making it look a cakewalk at the moment.
New Zealand in the lead. Denmark sits in second. Great Britain in third. This is gate number 3. They will race down to the bottom of the course, and the race will finish at gate number 4. So right now, feeling very good for New Zealand, and Pete Burling and company doing a great job with the new sponsor, Alvarium, coming on board. They have bounced back in a big-time way. Remember, going to yesterday, the win in the 2 second places will get them on 28 points, and now they look good to pick up a win, possibly here in race number 5, and cement their position into the final. The battle will be, I think, Emily, correct me if I'm wrong, between Denmark and Great Britain at this point, because there's a lot of points still out there. And look at this, as it's confirmed, Australia, Great Britain, and Denmark, the position they're in right now, they would fall out.
Yeah, as they stand, it's so close at the moment, but what Peter Burling and New Zealand done is managed to get ahead. Without doubt, there is a tie between Great Britain and Australia. Denmark sit 1 point out of the final race at the moment. Were Australia to overtake Great Britain would be out of the final, and we can see Slingsby, he knows that. It's a match race. Look at the two of them, all over each other at the moment. Ainsley turns the boat, tries to block the wind getting through to Australia. If he can block the wind getting through to the Australians, it will slow them down. Oh, this is reminiscent of Sydney in 2000, Ainsley's first ever gold medal. He's used to these high-pressure situations, and this is right on the limit as the two boats at this final turning mark. There's meters in it. Ainsley knows he must stay ahead of Australia right now.
New Zealand and Denmark 1 and 2. Then it's Great Britain and Australia battling it out. Who will grab the points to get them into the top 3? The Americans now coming through, currently sitting in 5th place. For the rest of the fleet, looks like their day is going to be done. France did themselves no favor in this 5th race.
Difference of opinion there. We heard Ainsley say we've got a jibe. We heard Slingsby say great pressure this way. He likes the wind he's got that way. And at the moment, Slingsby's heading straight down the course. He's found good wind. He's found a good opportunity. He's now on the attack. Who's got it right? Ainsley or Slingsby?
See the speeds on top. Great Britain traveling at 56 kilometers an hour. Australia at 51. The wind picking up in this section, but will it carry them down? Remember, the gate will be the finish line. It'll be gate number 4.
There we go, New Zealand are off down the road there. They've turned the final gate. Denmark, they've done a great job here of sorting this out. New Zealand have finished. Sorry, that's my mistake. New Zealand take the win. Denmark lined up well here. Can they make it with no more manoeuvres? Ainsley here. One more turn to do before he lines himself up for the finish, but left of screen, it's Australia. Australia has the right of way. Ainsley turns the boat one last time. He needs to cross clear ahead of the Australians to hope to make the final. It's tight. It's really tight.
And Great Britain just gets past.
This is the umpire's penalty GBR.
Oh, he's got to drop behind. Oh, he's got to drop behind. We're on board GBR, distraught GBR, distraught. got to fall behind Australia, and that's going to be at the finish line. Disaster for Great Britain. Oh my word. It went to the umpires, and the umpires have decided it there. Chief umpire Craig Mitchell, the penalty to Ainsley. Oh wow.
That did not settle well with Ben Ainsley within 200 meters of the finish line and a possible spot in the final, and the penalty is assessed.
And that should be it, Todd. That should mean that Great Britain missed the final, tied on points with the Danish, I believe. No mathematician, Spanish. Good finish. Look at the distraught faces on the British boat. Can't believe it. Nick Hutton, grinder, centre of screen there. Anna Diamond in the background. Excuse the language, tense times out on the water here. But yeah, look at that distraught Nick Hutton. Hometown, he lives just 20 miles from Plymouth. Nothing he'd want to do more than perform in front of home crowds. And, well, it was taken away by the referee.
Well, that's going to be something that will be analyzed, and they will see exactly where the infraction took place. But in the eyes of the officials and chief umpire Craig Mitchell, Australia was fouled.
Well done, guys. Awesome.
All right, Stevie, you're going to put your chief umpire hat on. Was this a penalty?
Well, it's hard to know the distances. It's really tight. Right of way with Australia. We call it a Hollywood. Slingsby certainly made it look good with that big turn up, looking like he's making drastic action to avoid. I mean, to be fair, the technology they have on these boats nowadays, the umpires can judge to within a couple of centimetres. So if it was a foul, I'm sure it was a foul. But yeah, there was nothing wrong with Tom Slingsby's acting skills in that one, that's for sure.
So 5 races now complete at the Great Britain Sail Grand Prix here in Plymouth, and drama on the final 200 meters. These are provisional points now, with New Zealand getting the win, Denmark second, Australia in third, and Great Britain pushed back to 4th, with the Americans coming in 5th, Spain 6th. Then you see Canada, Switzerland, and France having a debacle on their last opportunity to get themselves into the final, but they needed a much better performance than 9th. So here's the moment one more time.
And Australia there on starboard, they have right of way. The British were meant to avoid but didn't, and that is what cost them this race, having to slow down, drop behind the Australians and watch them cross the line and go straight into the final race.
And you see the penalty there being assessed. They clearly would have won that race without the penalty. They're forced to drop behind, and the Australians take the position. Wow, what a race, and what a way to wrap things up. 5 races complete here, and they're still sorting out points. Remember, there could be tie situations, and it all goes back to who won that race on that position. But you see the body language on board. Great Britain SailGP, Ben Ainsley and crew did a fantastic job getting themselves into position to possibly be in the final, and it's all taken away. So we'll go on board and get first-hand account. Ben, take us through that last crossing. What did you see, and obviously what did you think of Craig Mitchell's decision?
Well, it was tight, of course it was, and we'd just come out of the jibe, we were still building speed, and then as we came together, we obviously turned our boat down as we were building speed. So I think that the question will be, in the umpire's mind, they have a ghost boat which is 3 boat lengths ahead of the actual boat, and I'm sure it was close on that, but actually when you saw the boats came together for the actual cross, there was quite a bit of distance between the boats, even with, you know, Australia having turned down to try and get to us. So yeah, obviously don't agree with the decision, but it's not the first time I've disagreed with Craig Mitchell, won't be the last.
Ben, we appreciate your time. Thanks so much.
Cheers, guys.
Well, he gives it to us straight, and he was not in agreement with Craig Mitchell on that decision. And here we go. Race results after 5, Stevie, across the board. New Zealand, they are in. Australia, they are in. And look at Denmark. It came down to that last race, race number 5, now in tied.
Well, look at the results there for Denmark. 2-2-2 to finish. Great finish at the end for Denmark. First ever final for them. Well, Tom Slingsby, perhaps quelling the hometown fans there with that performance in the last race. Clearly the rudder was working well. How did you see that penalty? Was that pretty clear-cut for you?
Yeah, it was a tough one for Ben. He's driving on ley line, as we were getting to him, we were getting a header with pressure, so we're kind of altering course and coming down. In the end, it was a clear-cut penalty because we could have hit him, but yeah, it's a tough position for them because we were getting better breeze the whole time and altering course into him. Yeah, could have gone either way, but I thought it was a penalty.
Okay, well, I don't envy you in Plymouth tonight, Tom, but now it's a really gusty, shifty wind out there. What do you see as the priorities for this final now as you need to reset and set yourself up for a 3-boat race?
Priorities for this final is, yeah, just get off this line. It's really soft where the start line is, and then the pressure is up and down. It's going to be who can put together the best race, really. I don't think it's going to be anyone's got an advantage. We're just going to focus on ourselves. Haven't heard yet if it's Denmark or GBR in the final, so we're just going with the flow.
It's Denmark. That's why I don't think you're going to be very popular in Plymouth tonight, Tom. Everything's all good with the rudder, is it?
Yeah, might have to fly out. Yes, the rudder, yes, it all worked. And a huge thank you to our shore team at Team Australia for working so quickly, and the tech team. I thought there was no way they could replace the rudder that quickly. Usually it's about a 45-minute operation. They did it in about 10 minutes, so unbelievable job and a huge thank you.
Okay, well, that's great work by them, and you need to get yourself ready for the race. Thanks for your time, Tom. Good luck.
Yes.
So once again, the two-time defending and reigning champions Australia find a way into the final. They will be joined by New Zealand and Denmark in the big showdown. First time for Denmark to be there, and New Zealand, Stevie, with the talent that they have on board, it's surprising to say this is the first time that they're in the final race.
I think we've been talking about them since they arrived in Bermuda in season 2, and they've just not really cut the mustard. But this weekend, you've got to give credit where credit's due. They've added Joe Allais to the team. They've obviously started to gel as a unit. 44 points out of a potential 60 points is a very impressive performance. Look forward to seeing what happens in the final.
Well, another race that we can update you on is the Impact League. Now, the standings have changed, and we have a new leader as Denmark has overtaken New Zealand for top honors. The team credits a new attitude towards sustainability and limiting their carbon footprint at each event. Also a nod to Switzerland for claiming most improved team. This event marks 1 year since SailGP launched the groundbreaking Impact League, and this event becomes the most sustainable on-water event ever. So the final is set, and we take a look at the tail of the tape. And what a show it will be for the final 3. I know the fans up on the Hoe would love to see Great Britain, but here we go. Nikolai Sehested has punched his ticket in. Not a lot of results. He's looking for something, and I'll tell you what, a big win here to take home top honors at the Great Britain Sail Grand Prix would be a feather in his cap as one of the newest teams. Denmark SailGP, presented by Rockwell, is in to the final. Tom Slingsby has been there before. His resume is complete. Look at this. Olympic gold medal, 10 world championships, 2 America's Cup. He's raced in 2, won 1 of them, and plenty of SailGP fleet races. Remember, he is the 2-time reigning and defending champion and winner of the first 2 events this year in Bermuda and Chicago. And rounding out the field of 3 in the final, new to this position is Pete Burling, but his resume is pretty solid as well. A little light on SailGP fleet races won, but 2 America's Cups, and of course 9 World Championships to go with his gold and 2 silver Olympic medals. So it should be full on here in Plymouth. So not a lot of time to digest what has taken place. Stevie, now 2 minutes away from the start of the final race, and the title is on the line.
I think we heard from Tom Slingsby, the wind is so changeable, there's no favourite. I think with the 2 finals we've seen him win so far this year, I would put down as boat speed races. How fast can you go? This is not a boat speed race. This is a race, strategic, tactical, and I think our strategists at the back there, we're looking at the moment at Lucy Copeland, Youth World Championship medalist, and she's going to have her eyes out the boat. Clearly did a great job in that last race. We've got Joe Allais at the back of the boat, and we've got Katja Salskott Iversen on the back of the Danish boat, and I really think those athletes from the Female Pathway programme, big pressure on them. It's going to all be about getting your head out the boat, find the wind. If you find more wind, you're going to go faster. That's what it's going to take to win.
Well, the Aussies have been in this position plenty of times before. They've been in the biggest races before, but for New Zealand and Denmark, this is new territory. So do they let it all hang out and just let it rip? We're about to find out. Less than a minute to go to figure things out. If you're Nikolai Sehested, you know what? Why not go out and try to win this whole shot, Stevie, and get that lead at mark number 1? But Pete Burling has been masterful this weekend in the Plymouth Sound.
He has. We know it's all about the next 43 seconds, though, positioning-wise. New Zealand, top of screen. They're already setting up for a run-up. He's going to plan to come at this late and fast. Leading back, trying to control things is Rockwell, Denmark, Nikolai Sehested. And, well, already foiling, we see New Zealand. I think this could be a good strategic call. If his timing's right, Peter Burling, middle of screen, bottom of screen, more conventional, Denmark and Australia. Australia has control. Sehested tries to block the Australians. They turn 17 seconds, 15. All about timing here. Burling looks early to me. He's trying to dive through on the inside. Just 10 seconds to go. It'll all be about who can be on the foil first. 5 seconds. 4. Watch for the line to turn. White. Burling still foiling. All 3 boats are foiling. It could be Sehested from here who can drive down over the top of the other boats. It's going to be a sprint, but Burling wins the start.
50 kilometers an hour there for the Danish team, rolling over the top of the others, but it is a full sprint to Mark 1 here.
So the Kiwis on the left-hand side, the Aussies in the middle, and the Danes on the outside. Who will get to Mark 1 first and take control of this final race?
I think it's going to be the New Zealand crew that can lead here, but they're going to be absolutely neck and neck with the Danish boat on the outside. First time we've seen the Australians not leading at Mark 1 in a final. Board goes down, instant turn for the Australians. Slingsby thinks he's seen something. He's looking to take another opportunity and move up the fleet, and Burling, well, he responds.
Nikolai Sehested and Denmark decide to stay on this course. The Kiwis and the Aussies peel away.
A much better maneuver for the Kiwis there. The Aussies dropped down to 28 kilometers an hour in that dive and now dropped off of the foils while the Kiwis are burning away downwind.
Stevie, this has got to be strange, though. You're in this final race now. Instead of 9 chaotic boats out there at high speed, you've just got 3. So does it change your strategy or the way you sail this course at all?
The day-to-day, Todd's been about sailing your boat and putting the boat in the best you can with what you've got. Burling and the New Zealand boat have done a great job of that. That was an aggressive move to turn so early, but I think they're reaping the benefits. Back of the screen, look, Australia only just on the foils. And we listen in on New Zealand here. They're just trying to find the mark. The wind's so changeable, it's hard to pick the course for them out here. They show us 100 metres ahead, but I don't believe it is that far right now.
100% fly time for those first 2 boats. That early turn after Mark 1 by Australia was incredibly costly, 64% fly time. They're going fast now.
Well, it's been a great move by the Danish. They are sailing nearly straight down the ladder line. Wind has shifted in their favour. They've sailed less distance, and they've done it quickly. They're going slower, but they're being more clever, and they look like they should lead at gate number 2. They're going to be turning. Good wind coming off the Plymouth shoreline there. Look at that dark patch of water on the top of our screen. There's all to play for here, but a good move by the Danish so far.
So at gate 2 in the final, it is Denmark that leads the way. New Zealand in second, Australia in third.
Oh, but the Danish are off the foils, Todd. It's light at the bottom of the course. It's so light. They need to get that boat foiling, but the New Zealand crew off the foils as well. It's going to be a race to find the next gust of wind.
And what are the chances that Tom Slingsby, winner of the first 2 events, the 2-time defending and reigning champion, somehow finds the win and finds the lead?
Well, he's got a good chance of that right now because he's going off to the other side of the course from the other 2 boats. He's looking for any bit of breeze he can, and in order to get ahead, he can't follow behind.
It's an interesting one. He's rolled the dice, I feel, a little bit here. Looked like good wind coming from the side of the course to the other side. There, from Drake's Island, we can see that more wind up there. But all the boats are stopped. First one to get going, okay? Speeds, Denmark, 20 kilometres an hour. Australia, 30 kilometres an hour. And wallowing in the water, it's Burling and New Zealand. Popping up on the foils, here we go. The wind is so patchy. Opportunity aplenty out there, but right now, well, he's on the foils, but he's not progressing up the course. He's sailing parallel to those lines. That's no good for the Australians at the moment. And in the background, Rockwell and Denmark, they're foiling, but they're sailing up the ladder lines.
We could just see there in that graphic that the Danish have more breeze on that right-hand side of the course, hence why they're up and foiling at almost 50 kilometers an hour.
And what would this mean to Denmark to get the win here? Remember, the next event coming up on August 19th and 20th is in Copenhagen. And what a way to stroll back into town after winning an event like this, the Great Britain Sail Grand Prix.
What do we think at the top? I think we're going to go back to the island one.
Sehested, what do we think at the top? That's the million-dollar question, Nikolai. What do we think at the top? Finding that wind, he's in great wind at the moment. At the moment, it's a case of keeping it simple. Talking about good wind to the top mark at the moment, and they are off down the road at the moment. They're going so fast. There's going to be several more turns to do, though. Good wind in front of them. The water looks quite dark. Suggests there's good wind for them to sail to at the moment.
Let's go. Stay by. I'll convey the board here. And board.
Trying to keep it up on the foils here through this maneuver. We don't want to see them drop below 30 kilometers an hour.
Coming up. Stay wide to foil. Don't mind him. Pressing.
Oh, he's not.
It looks like we have pressure to the top mark at the moment. Little lighter ahead.
It's lighter ahead, he's right about that. It's lighter on them at the moment. Look at the background there, New Zealand sailing straight up the racetrack. This is all action at the minute. Absolute 100% speed on target there for the New Zealand boat. They're pointing directly at the gate. Denmark will have to turn one more time. I think it'll be New Zealand leading at the top here as they have the right of way. Denmark's got to keep clear. Burling hunts him. Expect a protest.
Sehested makes the turn right in front of the Kiwis, and look at this, close quarter racing at gate 3.
Oh, I think Burling was easy on it. Oh, he's forced him off the foils. He was 20 kilometers an hour faster, and what a move by Burling. Match race, America's Cup winner 2 times, and that was an aggressive match racing maneuver to slow the Danish down. Kiwis turn the boat immediately. They like what they see back where they came from. It's an aggressive move, but he's not even thinking about the other boats. This is the last leg, so potentially the last big decision. Here you go, on board the bow of the Danish boat, threading the needle there. The New Zealand crew, it's really tight in these gusty conditions, and we can see a big early turn by New Zealand. What are they going to do?
So they'll head down the course, then they'll make the left-hand turn, and then that long straightaway down to the hoe in front of the fans, and it is all New Zealand right now in control. There you see Denmark sitting in second place, but they are off foils and now traveling just 14 kilometers an hour.
Wow, I mean, look at that, 53 kilometers an hour straight down the course. In terms of minimizing the distance you can sail, Peter Burling, Blair Tuke, Joe Allais, they've absolutely nailed this.
That has been the key out there in this race today, is shortest distance sailed. When it comes to the percentage fly time, the Australians have actually spent most time on the foils, but not necessarily in the right direction.
Well, you look at the report card on New Zealand all weekend, their worst race came in race 4 where they finished in 5th place. Other than that, they've got a second, a first, and now they're on their way for another first place performance here. If they can get this done, what a job by Pete Burling and company turning this thing around.
It's Todd, I can assure you of one thing. This final leg across here towards the hoe is going to be an absolute roller coaster. They can see the gusty wind, we can see the Plymouth shoreline, the fans all there up on Plymouth Hoe, looking forward to welcoming them home, but the wind could easily shut off across here. There you go, Blair Tuke. Definitely have to keep at the foils. Look, they can't point at that finish line right now. Top of screen, 2 black markers is the finish. And this is the voice of Blair Tuke, sorry. He's saying we can't point there. Keep the speed on, Pete. Keep us fast.
8 feeling breeze and 2. How far away is it? 90 metres.
Really nervous times on board New Zealand here.
Well, they have a massive lead right now over Australia and Denmark, so it looks like Australia's 2-win streak here in season 3 will come to an end as New Zealand is just moments away from claiming their first SailGP victory as Peter Burling and company bring it down. The wind picking up just a little bit, and here is that turn that you talked about.
Todd, we have a saying in the UK that says it's not all over until the fat lady sings. The final whistle is the final whistle, and this is a long way off here. We can see Joe Allais at the back of the boat there. Look, the strategist, she's desperately keeping her eyes on the opposition. You don't see a manoeuvre on the final leg normally. This is not a normal race. There's plenty to go.
It's still going to be pretty pretty hard work to get to the finish. There's going to be more to come in this race. Trim me out.
So there you go. He knows that it is not over as well. And look at the lead coming down. Australia now closing the gap, now down to 180 meters, but they're going to have the same situation that the Kiwis are dealing with right now.
They all will, but it's just opportunity, Todd. You've got to try and keep yourself in wind, keep yourself in the foils. Look at the speed of the Australians, 45 kilometres an hour. New Zealand at just 33 kilometres an hour. It's a big distance, but with those speed differences, things can change really, really quickly. Burling there, straight at it from here. That's what the crew wanted to hear.
Look at the speed starting to build. Now they're up and over 50 kilometers an hour. Denmark has moved into second place. Australia sits in third.
Pretty calm on board.
Pete Burling and company, they danced with the devil on the last leg, but welcome to the show, New Zealand SailGP. The Kiwis take the win in Plymouth. It was touch and go on the final leg, and it looked like the Hounds were closing in on with Denmark and Australia, and it is Peter Burling, New Zealand, to get the win here in Plymouth. It'll be Australia taking a second, so they will maintain their hold on the overall, but what a showing after the broken rudder. They get back, they get into the final after that close crossing with Ben Ainsley in Great Britain, and what a performance by Tom Slingsby. I know he's not going to be happy about finishing second, and to your point, Stevie, he might want to get out of town real quick.
Well, I think he'll be pretty happy. That's a 5-event winning streak ended for the Australians, but if you end it and come second after the event they've had, but also let's save a thought for the Danish crew and Nikolai Sejersted, because what a performance. Getting to the final, they were leading halfway through the race. They really have done themselves proud, and I'm sure that, again, they'll be looking to work on things, but they should be really, really happy. That's a big, big improvement for Denmark.
Huge step in the right direction. As we mentioned earlier, the next event taking place August 19th and 20th in Copenhagen, Denmark, finishing in the final, Emily. That is a big boost for them in that program.
It is a huge accomplishment, and it's going to lead the way for next month. Exciting things to come.
Happy days for the Kiwis as New Zealand SailGP claim their first title here. They take home the Great Britain Sail Grand Prix in Plymouth. The fans not as happy. They'd like to have seen Great Britain take the win, but it is Pete Burling and company that get it done. Let's take a look on the telestrator one more time, Stevie, and some of these maneuvers were just ridiculous.
They were pretty ridiculous. They were pretty ridiculous early on in the start. 20 seconds to go. The more conventional approach of Australia and Denmark, but I'm focusing on New Zealand. Peter Burling here. He has to try and thread the needle, keep the boat foiling, but he's too early back to the line. The way he does that is by pulling a lot of extra distance, a lot of extra turns. He drives it like he stole it, really round the back of the Australians here. Put the pressure on Slingsby as they came into the line, but New Zealand were foiling and they led at Mark 1.
And this was the heartbreaking moment for the Danish team. They'd been leading the race coming up to gate 3. A maneuver in front of the Kiwis coming off of the foils, completely slowing down, allowing the Kiwis to get in between that gap, get through the gate first, and take it all the way to the finish. The Danish then struggled to stay up on the foils after they rounded this gate and dropped back into third.
Boy, the shifty winds and the tides made it really tricky out on the water, especially in races 5 and in the final. And there are the final 3. What a show they put on. But in the end, it was New Zealand getting the win. Australia finishes in second. Denmark finishing in third. And we go on board now with New Zealand SailGP. Peter Burling, congratulations as you guys pick up your first victory here. It was touch and go. The conditions were shifty. How did you guys get the start that you did, and how did you get through and get that victory?
Yeah, well, I think the group's been sailing incredibly well all weekend. We got super close to make it through the final in Chicago. I feel like we started a lot better there than we have. And just really pleased with the way we've been sailing and improving. And, with the guys sail the boat that nicely, it makes the job nice and easy at the back to get your head out of the boat and try and pick some shifts. So we're really happy with the few we got today. Obviously very tricky and a bit disappointed with that penalty in the first start. Felt like we had a good opportunity for another good one there, but obviously stoked to be in our first final and able to take our first win here is something we're super proud of as a team.
Oh, great job, Pete. We'd like to go and get a word from Blair too, because, well, Blair, you seem to like sailing in the UK, winning your first Olympic silver medal in Weymouth 10 years ago. You put it together here. What are the changes that have made this happen? This is probably where so many people expected to see this all-star New Zealand team.
It's 10 years to the day, I think. Great to be back in the UK. Awesome effort from the team. It's been a really big push to get to this moment, but we've chipped away and, you know, to see my comms are playing out and see some of that success is great. Huge effort and, I mean, 3 race wins out of the whole weekend. It's been a pretty dominant one, so yeah, absolutely stoked.
Well, Blair, I can see stood behind you, Joe Allais. Joe, first event on an F50, 1 win, and talk us through it. How do you find the role at the back of the boat there? And again, you were pretty successful in London, gold medalist. Another win here. You seem to like the UK too.
Yeah, it was a pretty epic day today. Just awesome we could put it together and make it all happen. I think the boys did a great job. Just happy not to stuff up too much from my head.
I think you certainly did a lot more than that, Joe. Great to see the New Zealand crew winning, and thanks, guys, for your time.
As the photos are taken now, as Pete Burling pointed out, getting into their first final, and they make the trip worthwhile as they not only get into the final, they win the final. So the Great Britain Sail Grand Prix in Plymouth in 2022 goes the way of New Zealand SailGP. Blair Tuke, Joe Allais, Pete Burling, the rest of the crew, and it'll be Andrew Thompson, the Chief Commercial Officer at SailGP, making the trophy presentation, and then Stevie and Emily, the bubbly will fly.
Well, yeah, they've not had to do this in SailGP just yet, but they normally know their way around it. So I'm pretty sure we should do fairly well. And you can see it means so much, can't you, for a team that's full of world champions, Olympic medalists, America's Cups winners. Look, it means here we go. This is the chance to enjoy it, and well earned. They've sailed fantastically, and no one can say they didn't deserve to take the victory here in Plymouth.
And how good is it to see not the Aussies again? It's great that the racing is just getting so much tighter in that top half of the fleet.
Well, it is, and there you can see middle of the screen Andy Maloney, the flight controller, America's Cup winner. So stood next to him, Josh Jr., the big man, Finn world champion. We've got Louis Sinclair in the background, Marcus Hansen. It's a whole team effort. Ray Davis, of course, they only really brought a coach in at the end of season 2, and it's all starting to gel, and you can see that it means a lot. All of those sailors won America's Cup, won world championships. Many of them have won Olympic medals, but SailGP, first time they've delivered.
Let's take a look at the results. It is New Zealand that gets the 10 points and the win as they take home the title here in Plymouth. Australia finishes in second for the first time in season 3, and it's Denmark into the final. They will finish third. Great Britain just missing out. That penalty costly for them. France finishing in the top 5. So 3 events down, and it is still Australia with a sizable lead. Great Britain sits in second place. New Zealand now catapulting up to third. Canada, Denmark, France, USA, Spain, and Switzerland. And it's all to play for in less than a month's time. We will be in Copenhagen, Denmark, August 19th and 20th. We hope to see you there as everything is to play for at the Rockwool Denmark Sail Grand Prix in Copenhagen. So for Emily Nagel, Lisa Darmanin, and Stevie Morrison, I'm Todd Harris saying so long from the Great Britain Sail Grand Prix in Plymouth, Britain's Ocean City, the winners, New Zealand. And it is official, Great Britain will win race number 4. The Kiwis take the win in Plymouth.